I deleted TikTok, so let's see how many books I can actually read this week. Hello bookish people, welcome back to my channel. My name is Megan and today's video is the start of another weekly reading vlog. This weekly reading vlog has a theme to it, a challenge to it, if you will, and that is I am deleting TikTok for the entire week. I actually already deleted it. It is Sunday and there is gonna be no TikTok this week, and we are gonna see how many books I can actually read. I know there's popular videos swapping screen time for reading time. I'm not doing that because I don't want to know my screen time, you know what I mean? I don't need to know the amount of hours, the amount of minutes, the amount of seconds. I have been dedicating my life to mindlessly scrolling through TikTok and other stupid social media apps. I don't want to know. I just want to delete the app and just see how many books I can accomplish reading. The problem with TikTok is it's a double whammy. It's a visual thing and it's a hearing thing. So you can't even listen to an audiobook and scroll through TikTok. Your whole world has to be dedicated to TikTok. Honestly, I don't miss it. I don't miss it. I mean, it's only been deleted for 20 minutes, but I don't miss it. Today is Sunday and it's not like a lazy read all day Sunday. It's I have to do a lot of work around the house type of Sunday, but that's okay because I'm currently listening to an audiobook that I'm absolutely loving, and that is Finale by Stephanie Garber. This is the last book in the Caraval trilogy. This series I am really enjoying so far. I physically read Caraval. I rated it 3.5 stars. I enjoyed my time reading it. Legendary, I did a tandem read with the audiobook and physically reading it, and that one I really enjoyed. I rated it 4 stars. This is the last book and I am doing a full audiobook listening experience because I love the audiobook narrator's voice. I think she is doing an amazing job, and this book I'm loving even more than the first two. So this whole series has just been an upward trajectory. We have Caraval, then Legendary, then Finale, right? I love to see it. I love it getting better as things go on because you fall in love with the characters and all these things are happening. I am loving the series so far and I'm very excited to move on to the second series, Once Upon a Broken Heart. We shall see if I do that this week or not. I don't know. I'm in a very mood reading mood. So this is the only book I can confidently say will be read this week. Everything else is just going to be how I'm feeling in the moment. I do need to pick out a physical read for the week. I do not know what it's going to be. When I woke up this morning, I literally sat in this room for 20 minutes just staring at my bookshelves what book do I want to physically read? Then I just gave up and turned on the audiobook for this and was playing puzzle games on my phone. I might go to Barnes & Noble tomorrow because I think they're having a 50% off sale. I might go to Trader Joe's, do a little fall haul, and also I have a new coffee thing that I'm really wanting to try out. So there's so many things to get done this week. I'm shall finish this today and then we shall see what the physical read I choose is.
Full stop. Can't believe I live in your thoughts. I think about you all the time, morning, evening, and midnight. Such a wonderful delight.
Good morning, you guys. It is Monday morning and we have books to talk about. Yesterday was very productive. I have 3 books to talk to you guys about, but before we do that, we are going to make my coffee because honestly, I just thought it'd be fun to do a little coffee chit chat about books. So Javy Coffee just sent this to me, instant protein coffee. It has 10 grams of protein in it, 115 milligrams. All you need is 8 ounces of water, and I am so excited to try this because I'm not somebody who eats breakfast. I just don't know why. I'm lazy. I don't like to do it. I just drink coffee. I'm hoping because this has protein in it, it will sustain me longer than a normal coffee would in terms of how quickly I get hungry today. For best results, make with cold water and then add ice. And it comes with a scoop inside already, which is perfect. Here we go, and we're just gonna dump it in there. Okay, so we shook it up. I'm gonna add ice and then we're gonna try it. Honestly, that was so much easier than making my regular coffee and filling my coffee maker up with coffee beans, the creamer, all that stuff. This was so much easier. This has 0 sugar in it. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna try it. We're gonna see how it tastes, and then I'm gonna add my flavored syrups to it, my coffee syrups to it, and then we shall see. Because I definitely like a sweet coffee, but this is probably just gonna be a really great coffee base. Oh my god, that's actually really good. Not that I'm surprised, but I've never made coffee protein before, and this is really good. This is actual coffee. Oh my god, this is so good. Okay, I'm gonna add, this is without the sugar in it, but it definitely has a really nice coffee flavor to it. Okay, so I just added some of my flavored coffee syrup in here, so let's see how it tastes. Oh my god, this actually tastes like iced coffee. This is what I would get at Starbucks, Dunkin' Donuts. And it has protein in it. I'm so happy. I am so happy that I have discovered this. This has solved all my breakfast problems. This has solved my breakfast problems because now I can have 10 grams of protein in my breakfast without having to cook. God, amazing, amazing. I literally cannot stop sipping this. It is so good. If you guys want to try this as well, I will have this linked in my description. I do have a discount code for it, so you can try it for 20% off. My discount code is Megan39428, or you could click the link in my description to try this out, get 20% off your first order, and you guys have to try it. It is so, so good. If you guys do use my link or my code, then I do get a little kickback from it, but you will not regret it because this is amazing and a great way to add some protein into your diet. And now let's talk about our book updates, because obviously we have a lot of book updates here, starting with book update number 1, and that is Finale by Stephanie Garber. I listened to this audiobook yesterday and I finished it. Now the Carvel trilogy is over. I am sad and I'm also happy. I'm happy because I want to move on to Once Upon a Broken Heart, but I'm sad to leave these characters because I really enjoyed this book. I love the characters. I love Juliet. I love Dante. I love Tella. I love Scarlet. I like the last 2 books better than I like the first book in Carvel because, again, I thought the first book was kind of confusing. Also, too, Scarlet was a little annoying as a main character, but then in the other 2 books following Tella, and then in this book you're following Scarlet and Tella, I really enjoyed Tella as a character, so I definitely think she kind of like saved the series for me. I don't know that I could have done 3 books from Scarlet's perspective. She was really nice, you know, like there's nothing wrong with her, but she was kind of annoying. Finale I thought was a really good ending to the story. I loved it, and I also love Jax in this story. So I heard that Once Upon a Broken Heart follows Jax, and I saw someone's like review on Goodreads of this, and I have to repeat it because I was like, oh my god, true facts. She literally says it, and she's like, Tella is stronger than me, for real, for real. She's like, because if Jax called me my love, I would just melt and die. Like, I would forget about Dante so quick. And I was like, true. True, 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 true. My one thing I will say about this series, it says The Hunger Games meets The Night Circus. That is a lie. I've never read The Night Circus, so I could see this having similar vibes to The Night Circus, but The Hunger Games, why are we putting The Hunger Games on this book? This book is nothing like The Hunger Games at all. Yes, there's some sort of competition, but it's not necessarily like this deadly competition in this like crazy government society thing. Like, no, it's not The Hunger Games. Don't compare it to The Hunger Games unless you're The Hunger Games, but regardless, taking that away from it, it was a really fun time. I see why the series is so hyped up. After I finished that audiobook, I had to start another audiobook, and I went totally off script, picked something completely random, and that is Renegades by Marissa Meyer. This is the first book in the Renegades trilogy. I own the first 2 in hardcover. I have yet to come across the last one in my thrift stores yet, but I have hopes that I will. So this book is like a superhero, supervillain story. I am 20% into the audiobook, and I am absolutely loving it so far. Kind of like a Marvel movie, but not a Marvel movie. It's a book, and I'm listening to it on audio. This series, I actually started this like in 2020 or 2021. Like, I started this so long ago. I read like the first 80 pages of this book, and I DNF'd it, but it wasn't necessarily like a negative DNF. It was like me getting into a book slump, never picking it up. This book is really why I can't do TBR videos. Like, yes, they're fun, I just never stick to a TBR. Like, if you would have asked me even 2 days ago, would I be reading Renegades? I would have said, oh, probably not. Even if you asked me when I woke up yesterday morning, if the next audiobook I would be listening to is Renegades, I would be like, probably not. But I am just, I'm a mood reader through and through. Like, I could try to put a TBR in my head, but when it comes down to it, once I say something is on my TBR, it's almost like a curse. Because then I look at my TBR card and I'm like, I don't want to read any of those. Even like I do want to read them. This one came out of left field. Very happy it did though, because I'm enjoying it. And then the book I chose to physically read yesterday is Crown of Midnight by Sarah J. Maas. This is the second book in the Throne of Glass series. I got up to page 60 yesterday, and so far I am really enjoying it. This book is surprising me in a lot of ways because I read Throne of Glass in January and I enjoyed my reading experience of it. I thought it was a good book, but that was it. Like, I was like, okay, this is good, it's fine. And everyone says the series gets better as it goes on, and after reading Throne of Glass, I didn't feel necessarily compelled to read Crown of Midnight. Like, I was just pretty satisfied with my experience reading it. And yesterday I spontaneously picked up Crown of Midnight, and I was surprised by how invested in this story I got. Just like off page 1, off page 2, I'm just like already invested. I think it's because you already know the characters, right? And this is a reason why I love series, because you already know the characters. So you're just kind of just like thrown back into this world, and it just feels like comforting in a way. It feels like, okay, like I know what's going on, and you know their characters' personalities, and I just like felt transported instantly, which I really was not expecting to happen. So far, really enjoying it. But guys, look, I deleted TikTok for one day, and look how many books I have to update you on. I have 60 pages read of this, I have 20% read of this, and I finished this. A girl with TikTok on her phone would not be able to do all that in one day. Just saying. Just saying. So today I am going on a bit of an errands adventure that I will bring you guys along on. We're going to Barnes & Noble because they're over 50% off sale. We're going to go to Trader Joe's, see if they have some of their fall stuff out, because I think I saw that they do. But I also saw those things on Pinterest. So are they old photos, new photos? I don't know. So I hope you guys enjoy. I will see you guys when I get back from my errands.
Everything that I own, yeah, I'd give it all up now just to be with you somehow. Unexpected love was found. You're the rose in a garden, and it shows if I'm honest. You're the leaves in mid-August, and I've come.
Happy Tuesday, happy new release day. I don't know what books are coming out today, but it is the Tuesday, so that means new books are coming out. Actually, that's a lie. T. Kingfisher's book, Thornhedge, I believe, is coming out today because I saw it in Barnes & Noble yesterday, and I didn't buy it because, I don't know, I just didn't. But then at night, I couldn't stop thinking about it, and so I looked it up on my Libby app, and my Libby app said coming soon, August 15th, which is today. So my Barnes & Noble had it out a day early. I kind of want to read that book, but we're not going to buy it. It's so funny. Like, I see books that I want to read, and then I buy them because I don't have self-control, and then once I own them, they just instantly become like unappealing to me. And I'm like, oh, okay, forget about that book. What other books can I buy? You know what I mean? Like, everything on my mind, everything I want to read is books that I don't currently own. I own them, and then like I don't want to read them. I don't know what that is in me. Like, I don't know what's wrong with me. I think I just have more of a book buying addiction versus a reading addiction. So we're just gonna try to like swap that around, you know? I have book updates for you guys. We have book updates. As you can tell, I'm in a very like YA fantasy mood. I mean, I read Finale, then Renegades, now Crown of Midnight. Like, we're just in a YA fantasy mood. The book I've made the most progress on is Renegades by Marissa Meyer. I didn't look up the percentage I am into the audiobook, but I did look at the chapter. I'm on chapter 29. I put my bookmark here so we can have a little visual representation of where I am in the book. So I would say I'm like 60-70% into the book, and I am absolutely loving this book. It is so good. It's just one of those books that you're listening to it and you're reading it and you're just like, wait, why was this sitting on my shelf so long unread? Because it is absolutely amazing. I love the story. I love the characters. I love the world. I love the setup. Like, everything about this book I love. There is nothing negative I have to say about this book. The book is just such an addictive book. Like, I can't even describe it. I just like never want to turn the audiobook off or my headphones off. Like, I'm just like walking around the house with my headphones on, doing whatever things. Like, I am deep cleaning over here, spot cleaning, like, because I'm like, oh my god, I don't want to stop. I don't want to stop listening to this book. You know, when you're listening to an audiobook and it's so good, so you keep finding more and more things to do, so you don't, like, just don't stare at the wall. Because I can't just listen to an audiobook and stare at stuff. Like, I have to do stuff. So like yesterday I was cleaning, and then it turned into a deep cleaning session because I was loving this book so much. So all I need is a book that just makes me happy, and this book is making me happy. And it goes back to, like, once I own a book, it becomes unappealing to me, right? Like, I just always want to buy new books, but it's like, why? Megan, read from your shelves because you are finding amazing things on your shelves. I bought this book originally in paperback 2020, so like it's been a minute since it has been on my shelf, and then I ended up upgrading my paperback to a hardcover when I found it at the thrift store. And you know what? It still sat on my shelf for like over a year unread. Now I'm finally reading it and very much enjoying it. Now onto my physical read, which I haven't made as much progress in, but honestly it's because I've been listening to this audiobook a lot. And that is Crown of Midnight by Sarah J. Maas. Right now I'm on page 106. I was like falling asleep while reading this book last night. So I think I read about like 45-ish pages from when I last updated you guys, which is not a ton. And honestly, those 45-ish pages, I was kind of feeling like bored a little bit. There's nothing wrong with this story. Like I said in the beginning, when I first picked up this book the very first time, the first 60 pages, I was just like automatically invested into the story, and like I'm still invested and I like what's going on, but I feel like I'm just not into it at the moment. You know what I mean? And it's like I was into it for the night. The next night I was like, I don't really want to read this at the moment. So I think we're going to put this book on pause for now. I am going to finish it hopefully by the end of this week, but we're going to put it on pause because there is a book that I cannot get off my brain. And this is the reason really why I wasn't enjoying my book last night, because I was like, I just want to read this book. So I just need to learn to put books down when I don't want to read them, pick up other books when I do want to read them, and just we'll be a total mood reader. If I'm reading a book for 20 minutes and I want to read a different book, put that book down and read another book. That's what we're going to be trying to do. And the book that I could not get off my brain is The Bookshop by Penelope Fitzgerald. Ever since I thrifted this book, I have just been dying to read it, and it is so outside my typical genre. It is like a historical fiction book. It's a classic, and it's just giving me cozy vibes based on the cover. So I'm going to be reading this book today, but first I'm going to be going to Target because they're having a book sale. Spend $25 on books, get $5 off. Do I need any more books? Absolutely not. But the main reason I'm going is because I really want to get Belladonna, because Foxglove, which is the sequel to Belladonna, is coming out a week from today. And I've been wanting to read that series, so there's no time like the present. I realized about myself is I like to wait to read series until the second book is out, or like the third book is out, and then I kind of like binge them all, because if I wait a year removed, then I just like forget everything, which is why I like to make explaining the plot videos, and I probably will do one for Belladonna, just so like, not even for you guys, but like for me, so that when the third book comes out in this series, I'm like, okay, I remember what happened in Belladonna, let me just go watch that explaining the plot video. So I think I'm going to do explaining the plot of Belladonna, so I want to go pick that up from Target. So while we're there, we're obviously going to have to get another book to meet the $25 minimum so we can get $5 off. You know, but it's like once you shop so many Target book sales, like they don't have an overflowing selection, obviously, like Barnes & Noble, and it's like the same books, like there's not really like a lot of books that I want from Target at the moment, except for Belladonna, so we'll see what I end up picking up. Like, I would love Target, like, if they had, like, Tea Kingfisher, right? Like, I would buy Thornhatch and Belladonna at the same time, and that'd be great. But, like, obviously, Target's not gonna have that. Or another book I really want to read, The Will of Many by James, I forgot his last name. It starts with an I, Islington or something. That book, I really want to read it, but I don't think Target's gonna have that either. So it's like, the new releases I want that would go part of this sale, Target doesn't have them. But that's fine. That's fine. That's fine. And then when I come back, I'm going to show you the books I got from Target and also the books I bought from Barnes & Noble yesterday. I didn't leave you guys hanging. The books are just sitting in my car. So once I go to Target and buy books, I will show you all the books at once. And then obviously I have to work on my business because, you know, that's what pays the bills around here. So
I'm out here to say that I love you. Ooh, ooh.
okay, so I think the book buying ban is official because I just bought some books at the thrift store and I really like the books that I bought. But reading Renegades has made me realize I need to read from my shelf. And like, how much did I spend? I spent, let's see, the hardbacks were $2, paperbacks like $1. So I spent $2, $4, $6, $7. I spent $7 on 4 books, which is why I have such an issue. I am back home now and I need to focus on these shelves. Like, I really need to do it. So what I'm going to do, I'm going on a book buying ban, no more buying new books, but the only way to make this sustainable is to add a little twist to the book buying ban, and that is I'm going to create a list of new release books that I am genuinely dying to read. Like, I need to read them, and I will read them. Those books that I write on this special list, I can buy those books. Every other book, no, cannot do it, cannot buy it if it's not on my list. With that being said, here's a haul of all the books I bought today. We're gonna start with the books that I got from Barnes & Noble yesterday. They had a 50% off select hardcover sale. So it was just like 2 bookshelves. All the books were 50% off and I picked a few. Actually, I picked 3. No, I picked 2 and then the other book was a full price book. I don't know what I'm saying. Let's just get started. The first book I picked up is If We're Being Honest by Kat Shook. I don't know why. This book just really called out to me. I came across this book while doing Book of the Month predictions video and I just always wanted to read it. It is a contemporary fiction novel. I don't even know. It's just, I think it's gonna have found family in it, and honestly, I think it's the cover. I think it's the cover that really drew me to the book. The cover of this book is giving me like cute puzzle aesthetic, and that's what drew me to it. Like, the cover of this book looks like a puzzle. This was a cover buy. There were so many books on that shelf that I wanted as cover buys, but I had to really be honest with myself. Which one are you genuinely gonna read? And this one made the cut. The next book I picked up is Finley Donovan Jumps the Gun by El Cazamano. This is the 3rd book in the Finley Donovan series. I already read this when it came out this year, but I didn't own a physical copy of it. I listened to a library book, so I now have a physical copy for my shelves because I love the Finley Donovan series. And the last book I picked up is The Last Chance Library by Freya Sampson. She is the author of The Lost Ticket, which is one of my all-time favorite books. I read it last year. She does the found family trope so well, so I really want to read this one. This is about a group of people that come together to save a library, I believe, and I just know it's going to be a good time because I loved her other book, so I am predicting this to be a 5-star read. Now we're moving on to the 2 books I bought at Target today, and the sale I told you about, you spend $25, you get $5 off. That is actually a circle offer, so you have to like download the app, put it in the app, have them scan your barcode or whatever, so it's not just like a sale that they're advertising on the books. So leave it to me to find the hidden book sale. And that is Belladonna by Adeline Grace. I am so excited to read this because I know the sequel is coming out to it and I know there's a 3rd one, so I don't know if it's gonna be a trilogy, a long series, but look how beautiful the Naked hardcover is, just like on its own. Like this is her in her natural form. This is no special edition book. This is just her on her own being gorgeous. It said that 5 belladonna berries are all it takes to kill someone. Honestly, I have no idea what it's about. I know it's a gothic YA fantasy, and I'm in a YA fantasy mood right now, and I want to read this, so there we go. And the last book I picked up from Target is A Darker Shade of Magic by V.E. Schwab. I have been dying to read this book. I originally bought the original covers and then I returned them because I saw they came out with new covers, and I want to have the new covers because they match the aesthetic of the Fragile Threads of Power that's coming out. The only thing is, like, the new covers I guess don't come in hardcover because I cannot find the hardcovers of these anywhere, and even when I look them up on Amazon and I click to buy this in hardcover, it changes the cover to the old cover when you do that. So I guess I just have to own them in paperback. So they'll all be the same aesthetic, but they won't be all the same format. I want them to be the same aesthetic and same format, but apparently Tor was like, no, new covers only in paperback. Lastly, we're gonna go over the books that I thrifted today. The first one is a book that I have been searching for such a long time. So to come across it in the thrift store, I was so happy. I mean, this book I'm sure I could have borrowed at Barnes & Noble anytime I went in there, but it's one I felt like I was gonna come across at the thrift store because I thrift so often, like I thrift for a living. I kind of know what authors and what books I typically find, which is why I don't really like to buy new release thrillers, because I know eventually I'm gonna find them at the thrift store for such a good price. Also, like specific authors like Ruth Ware, Sherry Lapina, I don't like to buy them brand new because I find so many of their books thrifted, so it's like I know I'm gonna come across it eventually. This book, I just knew I was gonna come across it eventually, and I finally did, and that is Codename Verity by Elizabeth Wein. The reason this book has been on my radar for such a long time is because honestly, one of the very first book talk TikToks I have watched was a librarian like recommending this book. It was like this girl, she went up to all these Barnes & Noble employees and she was like, hey, I said she was a librarian, she was a Barnes & Noble employee. Anyway, this one girl goes up to a Barnes & Noble employee and was like, if you could recommend one book, what would you do? Like, and she sprinted to this table and picked up Codename Verity and just gave it the highest praise that has always stuck in my head. And I was like, I need to read this book. This lady's excitement is making me need to read this book immediately. So it's a World War II novel, not my typical genre, but this one, like, I want to read it like right now, to be honest. The next book I picked up is The House in the Pines by Anna Reyes. See, this is exactly what I'm telling you about not buying new release thrillers, because I know just give it a few months, not even a year, like you're gonna find it. It came out in 2023. I don't know exactly when this book came out in 2023. I don't know what month it was, but like I've seen this book at Target so many times. I saw it today in Target, and like, you know, I honestly contemplated buying it for a second, but then I didn't. And then I found it at a thrift store for $2.95. I told you in the car that these were $2, paperbacks were $1. I got it wrong. It was $2.95 for hardcovers and $1.95 for paperbacks. So no idea what it's about, but I picked it up because it was a new release thriller. The next book I picked up is With a Kiss We Die by L.R. Dorn. Never heard of this author, but like, I don't even know what this book's about, to be honest. I didn't, oh, bless you. I did not read the synopsis. I just, look at the cover. Look at the cover. Is this not a me book if we've ever seen a me book? Oh my god, this came out in 2023 as well. Told you, 2023 new release thrillers, always at the thrift store. And the last book I picked up from the thrift store is Falling by TJ Newman. He just came out with another book that looks very similar to this. So this is not like a new release. This one came out in 2021, but basically they're on a plane and I think the plane is crashing, and it's a very short, just like suspenseful thriller. And now that we're getting to October, I feel like I'm thrifting more thrillers because I'm like preparing myself for spooky season, even though I have a plethora of unread thrillers on my shelf. But that's fine, that's fine. Anyway, that is everything that I picked up book-wise. I will show you the other things I got. It's 50% off. I justify everything if it's on sale. Look at this, look at this. Is this not stunning? I have the hot pink one, and now I have a blue one. For 50% off, this was $15. Like, are you kidding me? She's gorgeous, she's beautiful, she reminds me of a mermaid, and I love her. So I'll be drinking my Javy coffee protein in that tomorrow. And the last thing I got from Target is a doormat. Because of these dogs, I had to have it, you know? It says, wipe your paws. Is that not the cutest thing you've ever seen? And no, I'm not putting this at my front door. This is really to go from my back door back into the house. I have the mat there because these dogs, the amount of dirt that these dogs track into my house is unreal. Like, I honestly think I have to mop and vacuum my floors like on an hourly basis for them to ever be clean. I will mop the floors and then the next day, this love bug over here will come in with muddy freaking paw prints and put them on my floor. I'm like, I just mopped that floor. Like, I just mopped it. Or I just vacuumed the floor and didn't cuddle them because they're so cute, and how can you not cuddle them? And then all their fur comes off. And then my floors are covered in fur. So basically, if you ever want to have clean floors, don't get a husky. But you know what? I love my dogs more than I love clean floors, you know? I just have to be on top of the cleaning. I don't know when this morphed into me talking about cleaning, but that's a sign that I should go. I don't really know what I'm doing. I mean, I have to work on my business, but in terms of reading, I am still physically reading Crown of Midnight, and I said this morning I wanted to do something cozy, but now I own Codename Verity, so I really have zero clue what is going to transpire when it comes down to me sitting down to read a book today.
So slow, hold you in my arms, won't let go. The world around could pass us by, a thunderstorm, a lightning strike, as we hold each other tight.
Good morning, you guys. It is Wednesday. I have book updates for you guys that I am so excited. First, we're gonna start with the audiobooks because that is where I have made the most progress. And as you know, I was listening to the audiobook for Renegades by Marissa Meyer, and I ended up finishing it yesterday. I really dedicated my whole day to reading Renegades yesterday. Even after I was done working, done with everything, the time I would normally put my audiobook down to pick up my physical book, I was like, no, I cannot do that. This book is way too good. So I was just playing games on my phone, puzzling, just trying to procrastinate while I could finish this book. I don't remember if I told you guys what this book is about, so let me give you a quick summary. You're following our main character, Nova, and she is part of this anarchist group. The anarchists used to be in power. They used to be in control of their country, of the world, whatever world this is in. They were in control of it during the age of anarchy, and things were going crazy. And in this world, there's civilians and there's prodigies. So prodigies are people who have superhuman like powers. They have superhero powers. So you could either be like a superhero, you could be a renegade, or you're a prodigy who is just kind of in the normal population, or you're a prodigy that is part of the anarchists who are like the evil villains, the bad guys of the group. Nova is a prodigy and she is part of the anarchists, and they have kind of gone underground since the age of anarchy. Once the renegades took over, the anarchists kind of went underground. They live in the tunnels and they just like try to keep a low profile to not like to get the renegades attention. But then something happens that puts the anarchists in the spotlight, and Nova decides, because they don't know who she is, the renegades pretty much know the identity of all the anarchists, but since Nova is like a newer anarchist, they don't know who she is. So they decide they're going to use Nova to infiltrate the renegades headquarters because they're doing tryouts for renegades. They're like, okay, Nova, you're going to try out, you're going to be part of the renegades, and you're going to get information back to us about what is going on there. So they're just using her as a spy essentially. And what I really love about this book is you're following, first of all, it's dual POV. I always love a good dual POV story. You're following Nova and you're following the perspective of Adrian, who is a renegade. So let's talk about Nova first, right? So she is this person, she has grown up hating the renegades, and she has been an anarchist, right? So she has only heard this like one perspective, and she does have an experience that has led her to hating the renegades and loving the anarchists. And when she gets to be part of the renegades, her beliefs are challenged, but they're also reinforced. Like, they're challenged in the sense that she meets the people in the renegades and she's like, wow, these are actually like good people. I actually really like these people. They're very nice. But then her beliefs are reinforced when she hears about some of the things that the renegades do. She's like, yeah, no, you guys are evil, but then some of you guys I like. So it's really interesting to see her just kind of grappling with who is good, who is evil. Is there any true good in the world? Is there any true evil in the world? And just kind of living in this morally gray area. And then you're following the perspective of Adrian, who his two dads are like the top superheroes, right? And he is also a renegade as well, but he has a secret identity where he is this vigilante called the Sentinel, and he created the Sentinel because he was kind of over the renegades rules, because the renegades kind of go by strict rules, like think kind of like the criminal justice system in our society, like how you need like a warrant or you need evidence, do this. And he was like, no, I have a hunch, I should just be able to like investigate these things, right? So he decides he's gonna go vigilante and he becomes the Sentinel. And so it's about him trying to hide this secret identity while being part of the renegades, and also things he learns as the Sentinel challenges his belief about who he thinks the renegades truly are and what they stand for. The reason this book is so interesting is because so many of the characters are dealing with their own inner conflicts, and then when you like look at the broader world, there's like a broader conflict, right, between the renegades and the anarchists. So there's that whole storyline, and then as well as the characters with their own inner thoughts and their own inner conflicts. I rated it 4.5 stars. There's nothing wrong with it that took off a 0.5 star rating. It just didn't give you that 5-star feeling, but there's also nothing I can criticize about it. So yeah, I really enjoyed this book. I'm so happy I listened to the audiobook. I think the audiobook narrators did an amazing job, and I would highly recommend this. And like I said, this book is really inspiring my book buying ban, to be honest, because loving this book so much and the fact that it's been sitting on my shelf for 2-3 years is like, okay, I need to stop buying books and focus on the ones I own, because there's so many books I will probably genuinely love if I give them a chance and buy them. I mean, if I give them a chance and actually read them and instead of them just sitting on my shelves. Which leads us into the next audiobook that I am starting, which is Archenemies, which is the second book in the trilogy. I was really debating on if I was going to continue this series this week or not, just because this book was rather long and the audiobook was rather long. I didn't know if I was going to get bored going into this one, you know, this like too much of something, like binging something too much. But then we got to the ending of Renegades and I was like, oh my god, that cliffhanger, I need to figure it out. Also in Renegades, reveals that I thought were going to happen did not happen in Renegades. In terms of the plot of this story, it's definitely a fast-paced plot. Like there's lots of action happening. In terms of the reveals that you're waiting to happen, those are more slow burn. So I don't know if that could happen in this book or the last book, but I know I am just dying to read this book because I need to see those reveals. I need to see the ending of the last book play out and see how it's going to go in this book. I just think it's going to be so much fun. Honestly, I can't believe it's a trilogy. I would read 10 books of this. Now we're moving on to my physical reads. So first we have Crown of Midnight. I really didn't make any progress on this. I think I read like 5 pages of it just to finish out the chapter that I was in the middle of, and then I just put it down because I'm just not really feeling it. Nothing wrong with it. I was feeling it when I started it and not feeling it in the moment. My mood has changed. Once I bought this book yesterday, I was just like, you know what, I'm in the mood to read it, and I'm trying to be a better mood reader in the sense where I can start multiple books at once. I feel like I'm always in this mindset where if you start a book, you have to finish it, but now I want to be in the mindset where if you're starting a book and you're not feeling it, like put it down, pick it up at a later date, and then pick up the book you are feeling in the moment. And for me, that is a Belladonna by Adeline Grace. This is just the naked hardcover, and it is so pretty. So far, I'm really enjoying it. I think the writing of this book is really beautiful too. Like there's just certain lines in here I'm like, wow, that's beautiful, that's stunning. Adeline Grace, you did a good job. So yeah, I'm gonna finish this and I'm very excited. Hopefully I like it because I know Foxglove is coming out next Tuesday, so a week until Foxglove is coming out. This is gonna be my main priority for today, is physically reading this book over listening to the audiobook for Archenemies. So I don't know if I'm gonna start the audiobook today, but I'm gonna try to get a good majority of this read today.
You're the rose in a garden, and it shows if I'm honest.
Hello bookish people, happy Friday afternoon. There is just nothing better than a Friday afternoon, and today is no exception because I have major book updates for you guys, and I am just so excited because I am so happy with all the books I am reading this week. I am just absolutely loving everything. I deleted TikTok, you know, I got all the TikToks out of my brain, right? Because I feel like TikTok influences a lot of what I read, and then I'm not having the best experiences. Deleting TikTok and then just like completely mood reading whatever I want, I am finding the best books and books that I am just like genuinely loving and enjoying. So I would say this reading week, deleting TikTok has been a major success. I mean, tomorrow will be an official week since we have deleted the app, but yeah, major success so far in deleting TikTok for the week. Let's start with the audiobook update that I have for you guys, and that is I am listening to Archenemies by Marissa Meyer. I am 47% into the audiobook. I did not update you guys yesterday. That is when I started this audiobook. I was just busy working, then I had to babysit at night, so it just wasn't a day that I physically read anything, but I did get to listen to a little bit of this. This book is just as good, if not better than the first one, and I always find this experience reading series, I always love the second books more, and that's because like I already know the characters, I'm already invested in the story, so you just get to go along for the ride and have fun with it. We're just continuing basically where we left off in the last one. This is spoiler free, don't worry, I won't give away any spoilers. I love the characters, I love the setting, I love the world, and you know what I love about this book? There is a broader conflict, right? You have the renegades versus the anarchists, but then you have these internal conflicts within the characters themselves, and so you're just dealing with all this different stuff, and it just makes it so interesting because now the renegades have a certain tool that I'm not going to give away spoilers for that causes a lot of internal conflict, specifically in Adrian, and Nova is just completely outraged by it because Adrian, you know, he's born a renegade, so he has this idea that they're just trying to do good in the world, but this new thing that they're doing, he's like, wait, I don't know that that's a good idea, and he is the only true renegade that is questioning this. All the other renegades are totally on board with it, and Nova is just kind of outraged by it. I just love seeing Nova kind of live that double life, because we did see that in the first book, but I feel like it's even more so in this book. We see her really living that double life between the renegades and the anarchists and seeing where her loyalties lie, because I think she is even questioning herself where her true loyalties lie. She thinks she knows where her loyalties lie, but then there's things that challenges her beliefs, and it's just really fun. I love this world so much. There's just like nothing negative to say about it. The only negative thing I have to say about the series as a whole is that there's 3 books in it. Why isn't there more? What's super crazy about this book, and this is how I know I'm absolutely loving it, when I checked to see what percentage of the audiobook I was in before doing this update, I was genuinely shocked. I was 47% into this audiobook. I was like, wait, what? I'm 47%. I'm almost halfway through this book. I am almost halfway done with this book. Like, I was genuinely so shocked because it felt like I just started listening to it, because this book just captures my attention and I'm listening to every detail, and like, that's a good sign, right? When you feel like not a lot of time has passed but like hours has passed. It's like when you're reading a book and you forget the page count. So I am rambling on and on and on, and I haven't even finished this book yet. So we're gonna put a pause on my review of this, but just know it's amazing. I love it. Go read the series if you have not already. Oh, I did not mention this, which I have to mention this because it's all I can think about. If you love the movie Sky High, that cinematic masterpiece that came out in the early 2000s, if you love that movie, you will also love this. Okay, now we're gonna be moving on to my physical read, which is Belladonna by Adeline Grace. And oh my god, was I not expecting to love this as much as I am loving it. Like, I'm telling you guys, I am having such a good reading week. Like, I am just so happy, like so genuinely happy, like happy. I genuinely think this could be a 5-star read because every single second of this book I am enjoying. So right now I am on page 196, 197. That's where my bookmark is. So I am pretty much halfway through this book. I would love to finish it today. I don't think I'll be able to, but I'm definitely gonna finish it tomorrow, which is Saturday. And yeah, I'm obsessed with it. I was thinking about why I'm enjoying this book so much, and I've realized it. It's combining like 3 of my favorite things. And this is why I love YA fantasy books like this in general. So first of all, it's fantasy. I love a good fantasy story. I love a good murder mystery. There is a murder mystery in here, and there's a subplot of romance in here, and I love romance. Like, as a mystery thriller romance fantasy reader, that is why I'm obsessed with this book, because it has every single element in here that I love. So our main character Signa is haunted by death. Okay, now let's pause on that one, because this relationship reminds me so much of Addie and Luke's relationship from The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue. So if you love the relationship between Addie and Luke, because what I took away from Addie LaRue is like, I'm freaking obsessed with Addie and Luke. Okay, Addie and Henry, who don't really care. Addie and Luke, yes, give me that all day. And that is pretty much this book. Like, the relationship between Signa and Death is very reminiscent of the relationship of Addie and Luke. So if you just want a YA version of that, here you go right here. If you're an Addie LaRue fan and you're looking for more Addie and Luke like vibes, this is it. It also has a very gothic vibe to the story as well. It is a gothic story. It's a little bit of like a, not horror, but like spooky things, and like very like kind of like graphic things happening in here, like coughing up blood and like vines snaking up her arm, like stuff like that. Like, it's just so good, you know. It's just amazing. I'm just obsessed with it, and I just love when books come out of nowhere that I just pick up on a whim, and I just absolutely love them. This is a gothic story. I did not think I was a gothic story girl, because I think my first gothic story was Hacienda, and I just really did not like that book at all. I mean, I rated it 3 stars, but all my thoughts when I look back on it are negative thoughts. Anyway, so I really didn't like the Hacienda, so I was just kind of turned off to gothic stories in general. I was like, oh, I obviously do not like a gothic story because I don't like the Hacienda. Well, I read The Only One Left by Riley Sager. That has to do with a gothic house. Absolutely loved it. Rated it 4.5 stars. This is also a very gothic story, and I am absolutely obsessed with this book so far. No negative vibes, all positive vibes this Friday, this week in general. So very excited to continue on my reading journey. I have been prioritizing this audiobook just because it's so good. But I'm gonna really try to physically read this because Foxglove comes out on Tuesday, and I want to put up a video explaining the plot of Belladonna on Tuesday when Foxglove comes out, because I'm loving this book so much it's getting an explaining the plot video. Okay, so I need to prioritize this book so I could do that, but I also really want to listen to Archenemies. Like, what worlds am I in that these are both like 5-star reads right now? Loving them both, loving them both. And I have an update on my book buying ban thing that I was talking about. So I'm not going on a book buying ban. Surprise, surprise, who would have seen that one coming? I'm not going on a book buying ban. What I am going to do though is I am giving myself a rule, which I think is pretty much equivalent to a book buying ban. Well, not really. It's doing the same thing. Like, why do I want to do a book buying ban? Because I don't want to add to my physical TBR because I am kind of maxed out at the moment. But what if I read the books that I bought when I bought them, and then I wouldn't be adding to my physical TBR? So I think my rule is going to be I can go book shopping, but like, if whatever books I buy, I have to read them before I go book shopping again. I know, what a strange concept. A concept that my mother instilled in me when I was a kid going to Barnes & Noble and I wanted to buy like 10 books. So she was like, no, just get one. When you finish it, we'll come back and we'll pick out another one. Well, I didn't listen to that advice in adulthood, and that's why I have like so many unread books on my shelves. It doesn't matter if it's thrifted. It does not matter if it's retail. If I buy it, I have to read it before I go book shopping again. Also, on that note, I'm gonna try to make a majority of the books that I read come from my physical TBR. Like no more KU books, no more Libby books that I don't actually own. We're focusing on the physical TBR, and the books that I buy, I have to read before I go book shopping again. Those are the ideas that I came up with for my kind of book buying ban, kind of not. So that is what we are doing. I will see you guys when one of these are finished. Well, tomorrow's gonna be my last update clip because it is Saturday. That ends the week. That ends the weekly reading vlog. So we will see how much progress I make in these. Maybe they'll both be completed by the time I update you guys, or maybe only one of them will be completed. One will just have progress. Who knows? You guys will know in 5 seconds, and I will know tomorrow. It is Saturday. It is the end of our weekly reading vlog, and it is the completion of 1 week without TikTok on my phone. So we're gonna kind of go over that. But first, I want to do a book updates for you guys because I have 2 book updates. So first of all, let's talk about Archenemies. This will be quicker. I am 60% into the book now. So here's just kind of, again, a little visual of where I am at in the book. This is what I have read. This is what I have not read. I'm listening to the audiobook. I just am loving it. I feel like there's nothing I can add because I feel like I spoke a lot about it yesterday. Nothing more I can add to it, but just know I'm really loving it. I don't think this is going to be completed by the end of this vlog, but if I had to rate it just based off what I have read so far, I think it is going to be a 5-star read, but it really depends on how the story wraps up and what happens at the end. And I'll definitely be moving on to Supernova after I listen to this because I cannot. I was thinking about this book and I was like, honestly, I'm so sad because I'm loving it so much and I don't want it to be over, and I have only 40% left of this book and a whole other book, and I'm like, I just don't want it to be over. Like, I'm halfway there and I'm sad because I don't want the end to come, but I do because I want to know what happens, but I don't want to leave these characters or this world. Honestly, this is definitely a series I would forever keep on my shelves because I know at some point I'm going to need to reread these. Now moving on to my physical read, my update, I finished Belladonna by Adeline Grace, and oh my god, this book just took me by surprise. I finished it. I ended up rating it 5 stars. I thought this was such an amazing story, an amazing YA fantasy. I told you guys yesterday, it has everything I love in it. It has romance, it has murder mystery, it has fantasy in it. What I really love about this book too is the writing in this book and also the dialogue between the characters, because this book takes place in the 1850s. Like, you just have that very like prim and proper language with people going to tea and all these societal rules, and it was so much fun to read about that, and just like the way they speak like in the olden times, like it's just so much fun, right? Like, it just made it so fun. Everyone's speaking so proper, and I was taking notes on this book because I'm going to be doing explaining the plot of Belladonna. I'm going to put that video up right when Foxglove comes out, and I noticed when I was taking notes on what was happening in this book, like I was typing out like very prim and proper language. Like, I was starting to talk very prim and proper because like this book was just in my head. I was listening to like Harry Potter ambiance music and magical ambiance music while listening to this book, and oh my god, it was like set the perfect tone for reading this book and just getting immersed in the world. I honestly find that when I listen to like ambiance music that matches the book, it really helps you just get immersed into it, specifically fantasy books and specifically with the Harry Potter ambiance music. This book just proved to me this is why I love to wait for the sequels to come out to finally start a series, because after reading this book I was like, wait, where's Foxglove? Like, I don't want to read anything but Foxglove right now, and of course like it's not out yet, but at least I do not have to wait that long because it's coming out on Tuesday and I just read the book today. It is Saturday. I finished it this morning, whereas like if I read this when it originally came out, I would just be waiting and waiting and waiting for the sequel to come out. Although I did look on Goodreads, there is a 3rd book planned in this series. It's called Wisteria, so obviously between Foxglove and that book I will have to wait, but at least I can binge 2 in a row and be happy. So yeah, I'm so excited for Foxglove to come out. I think it is going to be so much fun, and I read the synopsis for that one, and I don't want to give away any spoilers, so I really wouldn't read the synopsis of that book if you want no spoilers for Belladonna, but just based on the synopsis, I think it's going to be another really fun, enjoyable time. And honestly, because these books are part murder mystery, I think they are perfect for my explaining the plot videos. And yeah, I loved it. I loved it so much. I guess my only one negative about this book, which, you know, I rated it 5 stars, so it's not enough of a negative for me to rate it less than 5 stars, but I had a hard time conceptualizing how Death looked. Like, the way that Death is described in this book, he's like shadows, he's this, he's not a person, but he is a person, and I just felt like, and I mean, he's not a human, right, but I mean like in human form, like he's a person but he's not a person, and he's just like a shadow but she can feel him, and like, or she could like kind of see the outline of a person but she can't see his face. I don't know, I found it very hard to picture Death and who he was and like what that looked like. I just didn't really like, it wasn't really going in my brain, but just like everything he was saying and his presence and how she felt around him, that part though, A+, spot on. Like, the descriptions of that were really great. It's just his physical appearance I was having trouble picturing. But everything else was really good. This definitely does, I stand by my statement, this definitely does give me Addie and Luke vibes. And I love Addie and Luke from The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue. So if you're looking for like a kind of YA version of that, it's right here. It's there, you go, read this right now. But I mean, obviously there's a lot of differences in the relationships, but if you were looking for that vibe of Addie and Luke, here it is. So I had a very enjoyable reading week, and you know what, let's reflect on everything I read this week because it'll just prove why I had such a good reading week, and I think there's some takeaways we can gather from looking at all the books that I read and enjoyed this week. I read Crown of Midnight by Sarah J Maas. I only got to page 114 in this book, but I was having a really great time reading it and enjoyed my time reading it. I put that down obviously to read Belladonna, which I rated 5 stars. The audiobooks that I listened to this week, I had Renegades, Archenemies. This one I completed. I rated it, did I rate it 5 stars? I think I rated it 5 stars, but I put in my like description it's a 4.5 star rounded up. We have Archenemies that is on track to be a 5-star read, and then obviously I kicked off the week by finishing Finale, which is the last book in the Carvel trilogy, which I rated, I don't even remember at this point, but I know I really enjoyed the book and the story. So I guess all that is to say is I just read YA fantasy this entire week, and I had such an amazing reading week. Also, I deleted TikTok this week, so that also goes into why I had such an amazing reading week as well. It has been an official week since TikTok has been off my phone, and now let's just have a discussion on that and how that impacted my reading week and just my week in general. Honestly, I'm down to keep TikTok off my phone. I don't need it on my phone. I had such an amazing week without TikTok, and honestly, I did not miss it at all. I feel like instead of the time I was dedicating to TikTok, like the times I would normally just reach to go on TikTok on my phone, instead I was opening like a game on my phone and listening to my audiobook for like Renegades or Archenemies. So like the time I was like dedicating towards TikTok then turned into audiobook time because TikTok is a visual and audio thing. You can't do anything else while you're on TikTok. Whereas this week when I would normally do that, I was listening to an audiobook and playing games on my phone or cleaning or doing whatever. So I feel like it was productive in that way. I didn't really realize this, but reflecting on the things that I have read the past 2 months, I feel like they were heavily influenced by TikTok, especially like Haunting and Hunting Adeline, and of course like Fourth Wing as well. And I did have a very positive experience with Fourth Wing, but other like viral TikTok books that I have read, like Haunting and Hunting Adeline, like I did not have really like a great experience reading those. I mean, how much time did I invest into Haunting and Hunting Adeline? Like how many pages did I read of that? And like things that TikTok promotes, like Things We Never Got Over, like those types of things that were very like influenced by me watching TikTok. I read them and I didn't really enjoy myself. So removing that influence of TikTok and really just reading whatever I wanted to read and just being like a full-on mood reader with no influence from social media, I picked up Renegades, right? And like, I know Renegades is something that a lot of people have hyped up in the past, but I feel like it has kind of been put on the back burner, right? So much stuff has come out since Renegades and people don't talk about it as much as I feel like they used to. I didn't pick up that book based on any influence on social media. I just picked it up because it's on my shelves. I was like, okay, let me try this book. Let's see how it goes. And I absolutely loved it. And now I feel like I'm going to read the whole trilogy in less than a week, or not even less than a week, but in a week, more than a week. I don't really know, but I'm going to read the whole trilogy back to back to back. And I think that's not something I would have done if I was on TikTok. So I would have been like distracted by these TikTok books. And also the way TikTok promotes books, like they'll just show you like one line or like one scene, like, oh, when he does this, or POV that he does this. And then you're like, oh my God, yes. But then you get into the book and it's just like not what you expected it to be. Like, I don't know. I really enjoyed reading without the influence of TikTok. Honestly, my whole feed on TikTok has not really even been book talk lately. I feel like 20-30% of it is book talk, or just like a small portion of it is book talk, and so much of it is just like random stuff from random influencers. And that doesn't really provide any value to my life. Like, I never once thought about those influencers when I was not on TikTok. I never once was like, oh my God, like I would need to see what they're up to. I need to see what's going on. I didn't experience any FOMO not being on TikTok. I'm very happy with having TikTok off my phone. I was able to accomplish a lot when it comes to books. I completed 3 books and I am partially through 2 books. This one 60% into, and this one 114 out of, I don't know, like probably 400-ish, 500-ish pages. Even though I only completed like 3 books this week, and of course, like I always want to read more than 3 books a week, but I completed 3 books, but look how much progress I made in the other 2 books, right? So like, I would say that it was a very successful week overall, and I am so happy that I did this. And thank you guys so much for watching. And I challenge whoever is watching this to delete TikTok off your phone and just see how many books you read compared to a week with TikTok on your phone. And I know like everyone does the swapping screen time for reading time, but I just like this experiment better because yeah, you know, I just like it better. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye!
All these